Okay. Let's bring in Joe DiGenova now, legal analyst, former U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Sir, good to have you back with us. Thank you.
Vince, thank you so much for having me. And I must say, I never met a New York juror who could be intimidated by anything.
Yeah, what does that even mean? I guarantee you Trump wasn't menacing a juror. Like, that's so ridiculous. And the judge is like, you're intimidating the juror by being unhappy they're choosing Biden supporters?
Listen, all you have to do is listen to that pajama boy from the New York Times. We are talking about semi-masculine people at the New York Times doing descriptions of what's happening in a New York courtroom. The tragedy of this is that there are no cameras. I would love to have cameras in this courtroom because you would have an opportunity to see these jurors and the lawyers and the judge, and to get a real opportunity to see how biased this judge is. By the way, here's a wonderful way to look at these proceedings. Judge Merchan, because of his conflicts with his daughters and her making money off of his trial, could not sit on his own jury. He would be recused, yet he won't recuse himself from his own case. I mean, let me just tell you something. I spent a lot of time in courtrooms in the District of Columbia, federal and superior court, and I have never seen a case like this against this. This is so outrageous. I feel violated by what's happening in New York. And everybody in America should feel violated about it. And you know what? Just ignore the Democrats. The Democrats are so out of touch with what is normal and fair and constitutional and moral. They have no compass. Democrats have no compass anymore. And you just look at this trial, and all you have to do is look at the jury selection process. Trump's never going to get a fair jury in New York. Every one of these jurors has a secret agenda. This case is about secret agendas for these jurors. They all want to be on it. They want to write a book. They want to say, I voted guilty. And here's why I did it. These people are all looking to write a book.
So I would say that the only compass Democrats seem to have is that the arrow points towards power. That's it. That's the only one.
That's it.
And
there's no true north. There is no true north.
So with these jurors, this brings up another point. I heard a former Trump attorney explain this week that he would prefer a prospective juror who outright declares their contempt for Trump, who says, I don't like him. I don't like him in a jury pool like in New York, because at least that demonstrates that they have some integrity to say it out loud. He thinks that you become suspicious that you have a Trojan juror if they just sit there and they're like, well, I don't have an opinion on the guy. How could you not have an opinion on Trump in 2024?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that he's absolutely right about that. But I do not want that juror who says, I hate Trump. But the truth is, there are no neutral jurors in this matter. Anybody who says, I don't read the paper, I don't know what's going on, who lives in New York, that's BS. That is absolutely nonsense. Nobody in New York doesn't know what's going on. They would never step outside their apartment, their condo, their area, wherever they live, if they didn't know what was going on.
But even if they weren't lying, why would you want a complete moron on the jury? like those are your options.
It's total BS. No, the jury selection process is fatally flawed because it shouldn't be happening in Manhattan.
Right.
This case should not be being tried there. It should be in another jurisdiction. And the failure to move it and the failure of the courts of appeals there to move it shows that this is a corrupt proceeding from the very beginning.
Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to go one step further than Joe DiGenova. The trial shouldn't be happening at all. Forget the jurisdiction. You know, this is.
Well, that's a sine qua. I mean, that's without any doubt. It shouldn't be happening. This is not a crime.
Here's one thing that stands out to me, and I think you and I maybe have discussed this, but either way, Alvin Bragg was given an extension on the statute of limitations for this ridiculous felony construction that he's putting forward by Judge Merchan. And Merchan said, you're entitled to an extra year of a statute of limitations because of COVID restrictions. COVID slowed up the New York court system, so you get a bonus year here. Is there anywhere within the law itself that would suggest that that's a real thing, or are they just making these rules up as they go?
Well, New York state law actually extended statute of limitations for COVID. A lot of states did that. They extended statutes of limitations for COVID. But here's the problem with that. In 250 years in this country, we have never indicted a former president for anything, notwithstanding their conduct. And we did that for a reason, to preserve the republic, to preserve some dignity in the administration of our civility and our conduct of our public institutions. When the Democrats crossed the Rubicon through Merrick Garland and Joe Biden and Lisa Monaco, the Deputy Attorney General, and Chris Wray, this pathetic semi-male who is the FBI director, and they all got together and decided they were going to take down Trump, along with the FBI from 2016 through 2020, who decided they were going to take down Trump with James Comey.
Yeah.
Once that was decided, everything changed. We are a different country. Everybody out there has to understand we are not the America that we used to be. And these people have decided that it's more important to destroy the Constitution in order to save it. This is Vietnam all over again. You have to destroy the village in order to save it.
It's really unfortunate what's happening to our country right now. And
worse than that, it may be irredeemable, because this next election is the redemption. You either vote for the right guy, and however flawed he is, Trump is the right guy. Biden is a thug. I was born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. I've talked about this with you on your show before.
Yes.
I knew him from the time he was a teenager. This entire family are grifters. These people being in the White House is an embarrassment to the American people. They just don't know it. These people are the worst grifters you could ever think of. They are just the worst.
Let me emphasize the point you're making right now with a piece of audio. Here's Joe Biden today, just moments ago in Pittsburgh, bragging about tying Donald Trump up in court as we speak. Take a listen.
Under my predecessor, who's busy right now, Pennsylvania lost 200.
Yeah, so here he goes. He's using this as comedy. I'm guessing somebody wrote that for him into his speeches as he goes out on the campaign trail. But this is how brazen they are. To your point, Joe DiGenova, he's like completely comfortable being like, he's tied up in court. Isn't that hilarious?
This is, and here's what this does. This demonstrates the connection between him and Merrick Garland. When the President of the United States says something like that, you know what the Attorney General of the United States does? He picks up the Attorney General of the United States picks up the phone, calls the White House counsel and says, you tell the President to stop that. If he ever does that again, I'm resigning. But you know what? Merrick Garland will never do that, because he has never gotten over not getting on the Supreme Court. This is a vendetta. This is a vendetta for Merrick Garland. And when you have an Attorney General who operates on the basis of vendetta, you do not have justice.
Well,
you have a corrupt, this is so corrupt. It's difficult to understand as a member of the bar.
Let me stitch together some more of the layers of corruption here. One of the members of Alvin Bragg's team came directly from Merrick Garland's employee, Matthew Colangelo, who is working as a part of the district attorney's effort to take down Trump here. The Justice Department's fingerprints are all over this thing.
Of course they are. By the way, you couldn't be more right about that. Colangelo is there for one reason. It's because there were discussions between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis and Alvin Bragg and the White House counsel's office. Everybody says, oh, they were just discussing this day and that day, a special commemoration. Yes. Nonsense. They were discussing how to take down the president. But in fact, here's what's happening. It's really fascinating to watch this. When I saw Trump in Harlem the other day, it kind of finally congealed in my brain. Trump's a gangster. In the black community, Trump is a gangster. He is exactly what they have been through. He is a hero. He's just like them. He's a victim. He's the new OJ. Donald Trump is a gangster. And when you saw those black employees at the Chick-fil-A just be so thrilled to meet him and to be around him, and that one woman who embraced him and was so proud to be in his presence, that is a fabulous moment in all of this horrible time which the Democrats have purposely created with no concern for the Constitution and regular order. In that moment, it's fascinating to watch that thing in Harlem. That was an amazing moment.
When he went to the bodega, you mean yesterday? He was very
both the Chick-fil-A,
yeah.
The Chick-fil-A and the bodega are amazing moments in New York.
Yeah, it is. That is amazing. So actually, this is kind of a perfect segue into this part. Then I want to get you to do some media criticism. It's all tied together: legal, media criticism. Over on MSNBC, the racist host that they keep there for that reason, Joy Reid was celebrating that black people are prosecuting Trump. Take a listen to this.
For me, there is something wonderfully poetic about the fact that despite the fact that even if convicted, he's not going to go to prison, the first person to actually criminally prosecute Donald Trump is a black Harvard grad, the very kind of person that his former staff, the people who worked for him, Stephen Miller, et cetera, want to never be at Harvard Law School. But he was. And he came out and graduated, and he's prosecuting you, Donald. And a black woman is doing that same exact thing in Georgia. And a black woman forced you to pay a $175 million fine that's out now also in question because the people who put it up, that might not be legit. Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle. And for me, there's something poetic and actually wonderful about that. It says something good about our country that we're still capable of having that happen. Go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home.
Just when I think she can't get more racist. Joe DiGenova, your reaction?
I actually think she should be at NPR. That's where she belongs. She really doesn't belong at MSNBC. She belongs at National Public Radio. Yeah, this is perfection. This is their optic at NPR. Well, of course, Joy Reid is an imbecile and a moron and a derelict and a morally corrupt person. To use race as the basis for prosecuting somebody is something that Martin Luther King would have spit at.
Yes.
He would have slapped Joy Reid across the face during the interview and said, "How dare you?" Joy Reid is an imbecile. And yet NBC, that's where they are. This is an amazing Tom Brokaw. Where's Tom, by the way? Has he disappeared? I mean, is he kind of no longer employed by NBC? I don't hear from Tom anymore. I hope he's healthy and I hope he's well. Edwin Newman. Remember Edwin Newman of NBC? Can you imagine any of these people being in the same room with that woman? She is pathetic. By the way, she has Donald Trump's hair, so she must like something about
She likes something about him. All right, thank you. As always, Joe DiGenova, excellent assessments of all things legal and media, it turns out, as well. Joe, thank you very much. Good to talk to you.